All right. Well, welcome everybody to Hit or Miss Tuesday nights 9 o'clock or around that time ish. I'm not sure where Night Strike is tonight, so the problem is, the show's got to go on. So I just went ahead and set one up myself, and we'll go from there. You have no idea what we're talking about. Don't really care. I was just saying to the guys here, this is like the weekend when you go over to your dad's house for visitation rights. No rules apply. So we're gonna have fun tonight. I guess I'll introduce my panel here. That obviously I'm Smeggy. You guys know that, so whatever. You probably know all these other people too, but I'll introduce them anyway. So off of my screen, oh, he's setting up a new router. Thanks, Doug D. That's good to know. Maybe he'll jump in eventually. Anyways, first guy I see over here is Cycle Camp.
Hi, folks. Cycle Camp 1 on YouTube.com if you want to see some older gun stuff, and glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining. Next guy I see here is Dog Body. What's up, buddy?
Hey, everybody. You can find me I do new video releases every Thursday over at Dog Body Space Official on YouTube. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining. And then last but not least, we got Rick. What's up?
Hey, thanks for inviting me. You can see me on gun channels as Rick's Life as I See It on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. And I do have a YouTube channel. It's actually under my real name, Rick Mitchell. But you can find it. But if you type in Rick's Life as You See It, it will come up. And I release videos every now and then on how I look at life. And it's weird. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks all you guys for joining. I just noticed a couple other people that jumped in on gun channels, and I'm going to send them links and see if they want to join. So maybe we'll have some other people join in. And if you're out there and you see it and you want something, just let me know. I'll send a link, or one of the other guys will, whatever. But like I said, I don't really have any topics. We were kind of talking about before the show here a couple of different competitions that some of us do. So I don't know if we want to kind of continue that conversation, and what kind of stuff do you guys all do in your gun clubs or local competitions?
Well, myself, I just joined the new club down here, Bradford Sportsman's Club in Rhode Island. And I haven't got into everything they do yet, but they do, the skeet, clay, 5-stand. They do, is it IDPA? And the other one. They do all those. And since I joined, we're going to do an IDPA for handicapped people, like in wheelchairs or electric scooters. That's the one we're working on. I'm involved in that because I have trouble walking. So we're going to start to see if we can pull up one of those. That's what I do.
What do you mean no link, Hottie? I sent it, but here, I'll send it again. Hottie's mad at me. Oh well, whatever. I thought I sent it to him. Maybe I didn't.
That's an old comment.
No, it just
if you're looking
in.
at the I haven't seen him or got a link, that's an old comment.
No, it was a personal message that said, no link to Hit or Miss, what gives? And I don't know. I thought I sent it, but I don't see it in there, so I guess I skipped you. Maybe I don't like you, dude. You ever think of that?
Rick, I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see your club is trying to be more inclusive. We just did a thing. We actually put a porta-john up because we realized we have some matches that go several hours, and we're getting a lot more women that are starting to come to our matches, and we want to encourage them. So I read this in NRA magazine, and saying, hey, you need to make your matches more friendly to the females. And I thought it was a good idea. So I actually lobbied the club and did all the legwork and got one put in and all that. And it seems to be working out pretty well.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's a good idea. That's just a good idea in general to have one. I mean, yeah, get guys pee behind a tree or whatever they can. I personally don't really like doing it, and so if there's something available, I'd rather use that.
Well, in Connecticut, there's a lot of trees. In the desert, there isn't.
Very true.
Yeah. Well, Michigan has a lot of mosquitoes, and that is something I don't want to ever have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have two clubhouses at each end of the I don't know, we got about 50, the club is about 50 to 60 acres. And
Wow.
we got a 300-yard rifle range. So basically we got a clubhouse at each end, and they got facilities for male and female. We haven't gone to the transgender yet.
Dear God.
Yeah, just
How
let
would
them
you
pick
know?
whichever one they want. The porta potty, they're all unisex.
Yeah. In fact, ours is handicapped accessible. You can wheel a wheelchair into it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's kind of nice.
Well, yeah, I said
Yeah.
they're starting to work on with me because I'm handicapped. We got handicap parking in the front of the clubhouses, but the clubhouses they're working on making them handicap accessible. It's sort of like it was an afterthought, so they're working on that now.
Well, yeah, a lot of these clubs have been around for decades, and usually they're built like a guy had a farmhouse on a piece of property and the club bought it, and of course none of those are ready for ADA or any of that stuff.
Well, a lot of them are, like you said, a shed that was out on somebody's property that they just kept adding on to.
Yeah.
I currently don't belong to any clubs because I changed states a few months ago and haven't found a local club to join yet. So I spend all my time just trying to shoot long distance with cheap rifles.
What, out of your window there?
No. I drive out into the desert, but I've been watching all these videos from these guys up in Utah that all say that they do these 1 mile shots on milk jugs or 1,000 yards on a milk jug, and they're all using nice guns, nice rifles, and they had a little beef about a year ago with that Nut and Fancy character. I travel. I'm forced because of my line of work to travel through Utah every now and then. I wouldn't mind going up there and being like, "Look, I have a rifle. It's less than $600, and let's peg a milk jug at 1,000 yards on his home range just because." I think that'd be hilarious.
Right, but I don't think it's kind of like 22 Plankster. He makes a lot of pretty interesting shots, but at least he shows you, hey, I didn't get it the first time.
Oh yeah, no, and that's just it.
A few. I mean, if you got a really decent spotter and all that kind of stuff, maybe, but
you got to dial in.
Yeah.
There's anybody who says that they didn't have to dial a rifle in, maybe the person before them dialed it in then, because you're not just going out there and doing it. But it is kind of interesting because since I started doing the egg videos where I'm just shooting eggs at 100 yards. I get comments or I'll get an email every now and then, and the response I made about a week and a half ago was to a guy who's like, "Oh well, if you have $1,000 rifle," I'm like, "I'm not out there with $1,000 rifle. I'm using a $50 piece of glass."
Hey, actually, I ordered one of those.
Oh, one of the scopes?
Based on your recommendation. That thing is huge.
Right?
God damn.
Yeah, it's a big scope, but for $50 and the clarity that you get with it, or at least that I've gotten with the one I bought, it's huge, but it's that trade-off. A more expensive one that would have given you the equal clarity would have cost you a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, I'm thinking of replacing it on my centerfire bullseye rifle because I have a 4x12 on there now, and I was thinking of going with that on It's a 223, a bolt action 223, and I'm thinking about replacing it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. For a while there, I was running that on my Mossberg MVP before I put it on the AR that it's on now. It worked fine. And I've taken that one all the way up because the Mossberg it was on was my 308. So it handled the recoil from that and held true. So, but yeah, I think it's kind of fun what you can do. Like guys always talk about budget builds. It's and one of the biggest things I hear from people who always want to go, oh, I want to get into shooting sports, but it's so expensive. They don't realize that they could buy a cheap handgun, a $200 shotgun, and build a $500 AR and go do a 3-gun match. They all think that they have to have the latest and the greatest and the most expensive, and it's important to kind of show them that you don't have to have the latest and greatest toys to go do it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, now, do you have to have all that stuff to, compete on the highest level? Yeah, probably. You also need a hell of a lot of training and stuff, too. So,
yeah,
that takes time and money for all the ammo and everything. But to just go do it, just freaking go do it, man. Like, it's fun. And, yeah, you're not going to win a state level match or something, but whatever, dude. Who cares? Just go have fun.
It can be a lot of fun. My brother-in-law participated in a centerfire 100-yard match, and it was a bench press match. So, of course, the name of the game is group size, right? He shot at 100 yards with just a pick-em-up rifle. He shot a group inside of a quarter. He got 7th place. But that's pretty good considering he was only using a couple of $100 gun.
Well, I still remember doing my first 400-yard match with a $500 rifle, and we went out there, and out of a group of 20, I came in number 8.
Yep.
I said, could have I done better with if I had a more exquisite gun? Maybe, but I had one of the guys who beat me with a Remington 700 that was basically stock. I mean, if it comes down to the shooter. If the shooter does their part, the gun will do its. And I think that, I agree with Smeggy. You're not going to go up there and compete with the Smith & Wesson team in a 3-gun match. But at the same time, if you're just getting started, you shouldn't be competing against the Smith & Wesson team anyway. But go out there, have fun. It doesn't cost an exuberant amount to get started.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because I'm the type of person where if I can save up a little bit more money and get something like a little bit nicer that I am going to like for a while, where when my skills develop, it's still capable of, it's not the thing holding me back. I'm still the one holding myself back. Like my skills are holding me back. I'll do that. So I'm not always like, oh, what's the absolute cheapest thing? But, at the same time, the people who think they can buy skill, it's like sometimes that $200 doodad that you added to your thing, like whatever, some special grip or something or whatever, I don't even know. Like sometimes that money would have been better spent on $200 worth of ammo and however many range trips it takes to use all that up. You'll be a better shooter than if you put a little doodad on your gun.
I'm going to say that's true for 99.9% of the time. Time and ammo are more valuable than the next latest doodad. I agree with you. But I hear a lot. I've heard, especially when I was living in California, I used to hear a lot of guys who'd always be like, well, I'm waiting to, go do my first contest when I can afford my Daniel Defense, or I'm waiting until I buy X, Y, or Z before I go do my first contest. And it's like, just go do it. If you already own a gun, go do it. Go get your feet wet. Because some guys, they might save up and they might buy what they think is they might buy what they think is going to be what they need. And then they actually go and do it and they realize, oh, wow, I'm thinking about this wrong for my style of shooting or whatever it might be.
Well, that's why it's nice in my club. We actually have matches that are specifically for the average dude. So our pre-1890 match, you have to use a gun that was built or designed before 1890. And, we're talking old-fashioned open sights and stuff, that's a bitch to shoot. We also have a high caliber match where you got to shoot a 30 cal or higher, and that cannot be a target gun. It has to be, you can put glass on it, but it has to be something you'd carry out in the woods. And
So
all of a
hunting
sudden, the playing field gets leveled really quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've done some matches where glass was banned, you know, where you just had to use irons. You see who's put the time behind their rifle when that kind of stuff comes up. I don't know. My eyes are getting worse now. It's harder and harder for me to use irons. So at least after
Yeah, the red dots are the way to go nowadays, but we can't use them on a lot of that stuff.
Well, I have trouble seeing.
I got two choices. I can see the sights or I can see the target. That's about it.
I have trouble seeing the color red. So even then, if I do, like when I put a red dot on my wife's rifle when I built it, I had to make sure it came in more than one color.
Yeah, the green dot. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, she handed me her rifle when me and her went out the other day, and I'm like, "Did you turn it on?" She goes, "It's on the red setting, honey." Oh, okay. So.
Well, it's good your wife shoots with you. That's nice.
I got her into it when we got married. I kind of put my foot down. We started living together. I go, I'm not a big, since I don't have any kids of my own, I just have nieces and nephews and lots of them. When I know the kids aren't going to be at the house, I'm kind of lax about having guns out. And so I'm like, if you're going to be with me for any long period of time, you're going to have to be comfortable with guns. So from the day she moved in with me, I got her into shooting.
Yeah, we see a lot more of that. A lot more. We don't get very many single women, but we get a lot of women that are there shooting with their husbands or boyfriends.
Yeah. And usually when it comes, at least I've found, if you get a couple, especially if the guy's not super experienced, she's almost always better at taking direction and almost always shoots better.
Oh yeah, girls
at
always
least in the beginning.
Yeah, I'd buy that depending on caliber, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, all things being relative.
Yeah, There's one particular couple in our club. 22 match, she mops the floor with that guy. Centerfire match, not so good. But that's because she's using his gun. She ought to get her own gun for centerfire.
Yeah, I noticed when we came down to the handguns, once I got my wife her own handgun, something that fit her hands better, she got a lot better because my Glocks are all too big for her hands.
Yeah, I'll have to admit I'm not a Glock fanboy. I have a couple, but like you said, it's nothing wrong with the gun. I love the guns, but the angle of the grip is just not good for me.
Although they were my work guns for years. I mean, if I'm going to go out and I know that we're like straight on just trying to target shoot, I'm going to bring out the 1911. Hands down, that's my nail driver. Even if it is a cardinal sin because it's in 9mm.
Ew.
Hey, it was a $400 buy that I don't regret.
Oh man, 9mm, Jesus, sacrilege!
Hey, don't be shitting on 9mm, say.
Hey, I own one, not a 1911.
I originally had gone out and I wanted to. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
When I went out and bought the 1911, I had originally gone out with the intention of buying a high power. Couldn't afford the high power, but I saw in the used case they had a 1911 that was in 9mm, so I bought that instead.
That should be a meme when someone says, "Yeah, I was going out to buy a high power, couldn't afford it, got this high point."
Ooh, no, didn't say that.
It's like the same thing.
I just have to make it a response to some comments that are on the Gun Channel chat. Clay, I totally agree with you. When I see Dog Body out there shooting innocent eggs and apples and stuff like that, I just cringe. It's like, oh my God, all that food going to waste. But it's just sad that you're shooting all those poor innocent vegetables who can't fight back.
Oh yeah,
well, can't even run away.
The eggs cost me about 5 cents a piece.
Oh.
that's why and originally I was going to shoot golf balls because I wanted something about that size.
Yeah, but they're not degradable.
One, they're not degradable, but I saw that they had like those chalk ones.
Oh, yeah.
But those things are expensive when you got to buy them in bulk. So I happened to be at the grocery store, and I found that when I equated out what I could buy, the not like the double large eggs, but just the single regular egg.
Yeah, and the big flats.
It came out to 5 cents an egg.
Mm.
So I'm like, I'm going to end up cooking most of these anyway, and if I take 10 or so out a week to shoot, why not? It's just economics. And I like the fact that they're degradable. I'm not leaving glass or anything out in the desert.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's one thing I can't stand when you see like an old TV or a wash machine or whatever. Like that's freaking, for one, that gives shooters a bad name, right? Because that's how the public sees us as, oh, look at these guys. They're the ones that fucking dump, washing machines on the desert and then shoot it and leave it there.
Yeah, refrigerators and stuff like that. Yeah.
Shotgunners are the current bane of my existence.
Why? Because all the clays?
No. The clays don't bug me because the clays, again, I'm in the desert. It's clay. It's sand at the end of the day to me. What gets me is they leave all these holes. I got shotgun casings.
Oh,
everywhere.
the holes. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said holes.
They leave them. I went out there. I've been out there a couple times while the kids were visiting, and we just filled up 5-gallon buckets I put in the back of my truck, just full. Because these guys just leave piles of them all over the place. And it sucks because they don't, everybody out here likes to complain about how they closed a couple of the public ranges. And I'm like, well, we have one public range left, and you guys are going to get that closed too if you don't start picking up after yourselves. But then again, all the clays, everybody... Go ahead.
Yeah, we have the same problem at our range, just trying to get people to clean up their targets, for God's sake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one cool thing is we're able to have we can kind of camp out here on the public land. So I've been known for people who leave their target stands and stuff out there that are all shot to hell and broken up. I've been known to have a bonfire or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. To try to clean it up a little bit. But I mean, I did luck out. Don't get me wrong. I'm sitting on probably... See, I think out in the garage I have 5 buckets of brass I have to sort that I've collected the last month.
Ooh, that's desert gold.
Yeah. But, it's frustrating to me that people just leave it behind the way they do. Because like I said, eventually the BLM might come out there and decide that, you guys are tearing it up too much. We're going to close this one too.
That's what happened to us here in Connecticut. We had a public, it wasn't really arranged, but there was a public area you could shoot, and the people trashed it up so badly that they shut it down.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first moved out here. Go ahead, Smeggy.
Well, I was going to say that we had a similar thing. Up north, there was a gravel pit, and it was actually like a working gravel pit. So Monday through Friday, they were actively, digging and sorting and doing whatever. And on the weekends, they didn't work, and it was open to the public. Like you could just go there and shoot. And a gravel pit's just a great big bowl, and then there's a bunch of piles of dirt and stuff everywhere. It's like you could almost set up your own little shooting lanes wherever you wanted.
World's greatest backstop.
Exactly. And so you could have like a mound in front of you that was, wherever you were set up is, let's say, 20 yards away or something. But then if you shoot a little bit to the left, you're shooting at like the outer rim, and that's, 100 yards away. So you could just kind of set that up, and then you could be shooting your pistols or whatever close, and then switch over to the rifle and start shooting far away, and just have them both set up at the same time, and then, stop and walk out there and change them or whatever. But anyway, so there was a problem though of people leaving, and I don't even know if it was the garbage type stuff like we mentioned before, but at least like just target sands or targets themselves that would just kind of blow away in the wind, or brass or whatever. And this place that whoever owns the gravel pit, it might have been county owned or whatever, but anyways, the people who had to work there are like, hey, we're trying to freaking dig holes and we're always running over all these target stands and shit. So they shut it down for a while, where they actually, like, they had someone in there that would basically kick people off every time they showed up. And then after, I don't know how many months, because I wasn't there for that part, but after a certain amount of time, they're like, all right, we're going to let you guys shoot here again. But the first person who leaves crap behind, the whole thing's getting shut down. You just ruined it for everybody in the whole county.
Yeah, but people don't care because they're dicks.
Well, at least last time I was up there, now I don't go up to that side of the state anymore, but last time I was up there, it had been open for a while and everyone was respectful and picking stuff up.
Well, when me and my wife first chose the place to move where we are, we got real excited because I had an old map. And by old, I mean like it was from the year before. Not, 20 years, but just a year before map. And it had 5 different public shooting areas labeled on it. I drive around, I find out 4 of those areas have all been closed, and all for the same reasons, because people just tore up the area. So it's irritating that it's like, well, come on, how many of these do we have to get closed down before you guys realize that we have to pick up after ourselves?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why when I go up north, I have my own shooting range. But I built a little bit ago, basically just made a backstop out of sand. It's all sandy up there. So all I had to do was take the tractor and kind of like skim off it an inch of dirt until I got a bucket full and then dump it. Then drive back, skin off another, inch of dirt and dump it. And it did 2 things. One, now my shooting area is like, freshly exposed sand. So it's easy to see my brass and stuff I can pick up. But then 2, it's just, it's free dirt. The whole thing's sand. So it worked out pretty well. But I don't shoot crazy stuff when I'm there because it's on my own property. So I don't want to mess up my own stuff. And there was this guy out there was saying, didn't Matt shoot his old TV? That's true. Matt did shoot his own TV. But like Cycle said, he cleaned it up after. And I'm pretty sure he was on his own.
He was on his own land.
Or whatever. Was that the thing? Like I could shoot whatever I wanted up north too, but then I'd have to clean it up, and I don't really feel like having to do that. Although I did shoot my buddy's phone. He had this phone. This was back in the days like flip phones, and he had this flip phone that he just had so much problems with. I mean, he hated the thing. And when he finally bought the new phone, we were up north. He's like, "Hey, do you mind if I shoot my old phone? This thing really pissed me off." And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." So I mean, he took the battery out of it and stuff, but then we set it up on a tree stump and shot it, and then picked up all the pieces.
You know what? I can relate. Years ago, I had one of those indestructible Nokia phones.
Oh, the Nokia brick?
Yeah, it was indestructible until it met a 12 gauge. One of the happiest moments of my life. No longer having to have that damn phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the problems we have at our club is people picking up their brass. I mean, that's, if you leave it there, you come the next day, it's still going to be there. Somebody's got to pick it up.
You just need a couple of brass hawks there. They love that kind of stuff.
I mean, I do. I mean, if I see 45s laying down, I pick them up. But I shouldn't have to. I mean, it's even in the rules that you pick up your own brass. And you can lose your membership if you don't do it. So if you get caught so many times for not doing it, So I mean, like I'm there. I was there the other week. There was a guy next to me. He was shooting 45s too, and they're piling up. I said, "You gonna pick those up?" He goes, "Yeah, I guess I got to clean myself up. I don't want them." I said, "Leave them. I'll get them." He was happy as could be.
Yeah, You know, a lot of times when I'm at the indoor range, that's what I'll offer. Is because that's the indoor range. You're supposed to like sweep up your area before you leave.
Yeah.
And so I'll ask the people like, "Hey, do you guys save brass?" And most of the time they say no. Sometimes they do. They go, "Yeah, okay." But if they go, "No, we don't," I said, "Tell you what, when you guys leave, I'll clean up all your stuff and just let me keep it." And they're like, "Yeah, sure, I don't care."
Well, what's gotten me recently is I started taking an extra brass catcher for the AR with me. Because inevitably I'll see somebody will be out there with an AR and I'll watch their brass flying over their shoulder that they're going to leave. And I'll ask them, I go, "You going to leave it here?" They'll tell me, "Oh yeah, I don't reload." Like that's an excuse to leave a mess. And I'll offer them, "Here, do me a favor. Use this brass catcher. When it's full, give it to me. I'll clean it up for you." You know?
Yeah, I thought about getting one of them because that's one of the things that okay, on my own property, I'm not as vigilant about picking up the brass. I'd rather be shooting and like when I'm done, I'll pick it all up. And sometimes if I'm there with buddies and they're shooting and like let's say they moved up, like they're shooting handguns or whatever, and I'm back where we were shooting rifles, I'll take that time to pick up all the brass that's in the area. But my dad's the type of guy, like if you shoot and he doesn't pick up like 30 rounds of brass, he sits there and waits till he finds like the last two before he's like ready to go shooting again. It's like, dude, like you're in my way. I want to shoot again, but you're walking around back and forth. Like, what the heck you doing, man? Like, let's enjoy ourselves. We'll get that later. And there's been times I've left it and I find it like the next week or whatever because the sand always washes away a little bit, and it's like it cleans up. Sometimes I have to toss it back in the tumbler again, but it doesn't matter if it gets tarnished a little bit.
See, I shoot.
In worst case scenario, it's really, really bad, and I scrap it out. Okay, whoop-de-doo. I lost one piece.
I shoot out of the back of my truck. So I hate having to go and hunt down brass out in the middle of the desert heat. So if I'm running an AR, I got a brass catcher on it.
Yeah, I've been thinking of getting one for him and make him happy.
But at the same time, there are some guns where you just don't have an option. Like if I'm out there with the handgun, there's no brass catcher for that. That's just what it is. Have to pick up each case individually. I'll be honest with you, I've almost gotten to a point where I've thought about taking a revolver just because it'd be easier.
Well, I use one of those nut collectors that I roll back and forth.
Is that like the little like wire basket kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. It works on dry sand and grass. It doesn't work in mud. If it's been raining and it's mushy out there, it won't work. But if it's dry, it works quite well. Yeah. It saves my back. That's why I use it.
Oh yeah, not having to bend down. That's
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it might take a bit. I mean, it's not super fast, but I mean, you're rolling it and it picks up a bunch at a time. But when it gets so full, you better empty it, otherwise they start falling out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, Tread's out there saying that some indoor ranges have a no pickup policy. Yeah, I've never seen that completely, but there is one near me where they only, like, if you only shoot 50 rounds, you can only pick up your brass. So, like, if the other people's came into your lane or whatever, and you start picking it up, like, I've been yelled at before, and I wasn't going crazy. I know some people will, like, take the little squeegee thing and reach out, like, over the line and pull it all back towards them and just get, like, hundreds of rounds of brass in 2 seconds. But I wasn't even going crazy. I was just I was cleaning up to the people next to me, and I did the whole thing. I asked them if they were keeping it. They said no. And the guy was like, "Hey, you're not allowed to take that." I'm like, "But they're not going to keep it." So they said they'd give it to me. Like, would it be any different if they were the ones picking it up, and then at the end of the day, they handed it to me in the parking lot? Like, it'd be the exact same thing. The range still wouldn't have the brass.
There's two things I've discovered. because I've been to multiple indoor ranges where they don't want you to pick up your brass. One of those ranges, the guy told me that they don't allow people to pick up brass because they had a guy who used to crawl under the counter to get his brass, and he'd end up on the firing lane.
Okay, well, that's a separate problem, though.
Well, no, hold on. I said that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that I had another guy tell me that the range collected the brass and was able to do some kind of exchange deal to get reloads.
Oh yeah, and most of them do. That's what everyone's saying. The ranges sell it, and the particular one I'm talking about, they actually reload their own, where they have like a reloading room that's got all the stuff in it. And so if they're not super busy, one of their employees is in there reloading, and then like if they start getting busy, they call him out, and he comes out and helps at the counter or does whatever, and then goes back to reloading when it dies down.
Well, see, that's why they didn't want you taking it. You were cutting into their profit. They're like, hey, that's our resell.
I understand that, and I know that's why they do it. My whole point, though, is that I felt really weird. Like they were granting me the favor of allowing me to pick up my own brass, and the people next to me, I'm not allowed to pick up theirs. But those people would have been allowed to pick up their own and keep it also. So it's like, at the end of the day, and shit, most of those, they all fell in front of the line anyways. And I leave those. Like they got plenty of brass. So like, let me take freaking an extra 50 rounds that my neighbor shot, not me. It's really not that big of a deal.
I get where you're coming from, but I just think they do that way because they're trying to keep from the brass hawk who's going to come down there and try to hawk off everybody's stuff. Because we all know at least one of those people.
Right. But anyways, I don't know how this turned into a quasi reloading chat. Kind of. I mean, at least the brass point of view. I mean, I have been collecting my brass for a long time, even before I reloaded. Clay's out there saying, I would have thought you'd be a brass hawk. And that's the thing. I do pick up my brass, just not in between every single magazine. I don't mind when I'm done shooting, picking up a couple hundred rounds of brass. And yeah, if I pick up 198 instead of 200, oh well, I left 2. Maybe I'll get them next time.
Yeah. I mean, I'll pick up my 45s after I finish. I normally fire my 9mm last, so if I don't pick them up, I'm not too worried about it because, I don't reload 9mm, but I pick them up because I plan on starting one day.
I pick up everything, and then and that's like I said, especially at indoor ranges, I'm gonna be able to get calibers I don't even have. Like I'll pick up 40s or whatever. I don't own a 40, but if I ever, find someone else who reloads, maybe I'll be like, hey, you want to trade me whatever, 109mm projectiles for this giant box of 40 brass or, whatever, however the thing works out. I'll just trade them the brass that I'm not going to use for something I will use.
Yeah, I've done that from time to time where I collect brass out in the desert and find somebody who actually needs it, trade it with them. Every now and then, I got a blacksmith out in the town next to me. Traded him a couple buckets of random brass that he wanted to melt down for something he was making in exchange for him to work on my truck.
Hey, that
cost me nothing. Yeah, it cost me nothing. He did the labor. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, the only thing I have problem with is when I'm collecting brass, like with my thing, and I throw it in the bucket, and then I know it's all 45. I sort it out between 45s and 9, whatever else I collected. I clean it and get ready to reload it. And I got my system going, and all of a sudden you're trying to put the goddamn primer in the damn bitch, and it won't go. And you realize it's a small, because they have 2 different sizes in 45s, small and large primers. I know it's the piss out of me. Yeah, but I digress. I'm going off the topic there, but
well, that's fine. We don't really have a topic. We're just BSing around.
What I was is that's what I got to start doing now when I start before I clean it. is look at the primer size. Because it happened to me twice in the last 500 I did. I mean, only 2 out of 500 wasn't bad, but it just, I'm going, the goddamn machine's broke. But, you know, I'm cursing this new press I got. So I realized of course, you're not going to fit a large primer into a small shell, you know? So. Yeah.
Well, that's in cycle. I see you typed out there on the YouTube chat that picking up the plastic cases for 22. Those things are awesome. I grab those too if I see someone throwing those away. It's like, hey, wait a minute. Those things are kind of neat.
Oh, you mean like those little CCI ones? Most definitely.
Well, the plastic things, the 222s coming?
Yeah.
What do you use them for?
Well, putting 22s in.
I sometimes I buy ammo in bulk.
Yeah.
And I'll rebox it into those little things because you get like a 100 round rectangular box, and you can dump them out 10 rounds at a time, which is like the magic number at my range because we usually shoot 10 rounds at a target. So it just makes it so much easier to deal with and count. And
you buy 22. Sometimes you get them in sort of like just a bulk box.
Yeah, or plastic Ziploc bags or that kind of thing. This was back. I did it more when 22 was hard to find.
Okay.
Now it's not so bad, but
I tell you what, I didn't think about that because up here that's the only time I've bought. So I just automatically throw them away. But you got a good point. You need to start saving those.
Yep.
It's how I use it to divvy out ammo to the kids when the kids come out.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, because I'm like you. I buy it in the big bulk, and then I have I don't want to just give them handfuls of ammo. It makes it a lot easier. Make sure each kid, 100 for you, 100 for you, and or whatever I'm giving them that day.
You get those boxes of 325 or whatever. That's a pain in the ass to deal with.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm the same way. Like with even other calibers. Like if I see that somebody had a 50 box, a 9mm that had the good plastic, not the foam divider, but the plastic
tray,
holder. Oh, if I see one of those, I grab that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, now I grab that kind of stuff for my 45s and stuff.
Yeah. Because it just, I hate paying for stuff that I don't need to pay for.
Yeah. I don't shoot enough 22s I didn't. But I'm sort of like, I started shooting my my little Smith & Wesson 1522, on the AR-15 platform. That's a cool little gun. I've been shooting a lot of that lately. I thought if I start buying it in bulk, I'm going to need something to put them in.
Yep.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, that was like my buddy picked up one of those, bucket o' bullets, the little 22 thing, and he had it in the back of his car, and it broke open. So he had 22 all in his trunk everywhere. And
I'll tell you what, and there's some states that if they find a live bullet in your car, you're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, if I'm going to have loose ammo rolling through my car, I really don't want it being anything rimfire.
No.
I think he picked them all up, but he ended up putting it in like a, I don't know, whatever, like a Tupperware thing he had laying around type of thing. So I only had a few of those, but I was like, here, you can just keep these. I don't really care. So I kind of just started keeping those.
I'll be right back. I got to grab a drink.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so that's a good idea, guys. That's I'm going to start saving mine. Yeah. Yeah.
So I got a lot of people asking where Night Strike is. So in case you're late to the party, I'm not 100% sure, but I heard it from a person who heard it from a person who heard it from him that he's setting up a router or something. So
shit, how long does that take?
I
I
have
guess in
no
your
idea.
house it doesn't take long.
Sometimes they can be a pain in the ass. They really can.
Yeah, I have no idea what's that. Like I said, I heard it through the grapevine.
You know what he does for a living?
I don't have any idea. I think hit or miss.
Yeah,
Tuesday,
he's some kind of IT guy. Yeah.
I think he works with computers for a living.
Yeah, he definitely is involved in
Come out here,
computers.
lay down.
Yeah.
Lay down.
I don't want to lay
Here.
down. You can't make me.
Come here.
No. Arf, arf.
I ain't laying down. Oh, give me a biscuit and rub my belly, I might.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a question for the group. I recently bought a Springfield Armory 1903 in 30-06, which has not yet been delivered. I'm still waiting for it to show up. And it says, and in the description, it says Springfield Armory 1903 30-06, 24-inch RA barrel. And I don't know what the hell an RA barrel is. It's R-A, dated 844 with adjustable sights. So that's my first question: is what the hell is an RA barrel? Maybe it's Remington.
Um,
Oh,
No
close.
answer. No answers from the
I have
forum.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm using Google Foo here real quick, but yeah, maybe someone out listening knows what that is.
And the other thing is the bore is corroded and very dirty. So what I was planning on doing was to take a like bore scrubber and plugging the end of the barrel and just filling it up with bore scrubber and letting it set a day or two to try to get some of that shit out of there. And then I'll hit it with a brass brush, before I try shooting.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. I didn't know if anybody else had any other suggestions about that.
Well, I don't. I'm not a rifle guy. As you know, I'm new to this this kind of stuff. But our man who just stepped away for a few minutes might know. He's a rifleman.
What's going on?
Who's that? Who just came in?
I just came back from getting a drink.
Oh, wow. There you go, Bill.
Yeah, we were talking about I bought a Springfield Armory off a gun broker, and it says it has a 24-inch R-A barrel dated 844 with adjustable sights. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell an R-A barrel is.
R-A?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's freaking weird. Let me throw the link on the gun channel. I don't know if you guys can actually see this or not, but I'll throw the link in, and if you can see it, you can see it.
I guess that's a Remington barrel.
That's what I'm thinking. It's kind of weird for Springfield, but because it was 1944, it's a 1903 pattern, but it's a 1944 weapon.
So the quickest I can find from a Google Foo is referencing it to being a Remington barrel.
Okay, so it's probably a Remington Arms barrel then.
Yeah, that's the
All right.
quickest from what I was able to find there.
Yeah,
that's what
I just didn't have a 1903 for my collection, so I figured I'd pick one up, and I got this one.
Not?
I got this one for about half what I would have paid for it locally, so I felt pretty good about it, and it looked like it was in pretty nice shape. Other than that. Because I love me the milsurps.
That's something I really got to get back into. Every time I think I'll start go milsurp hunting, I find other stuff I want to buy. I got too much into this modularity kick a couple years ago that I'm finally getting out of, where everything had to be universal.
Well,
I'm all about just having different weird shit.
Scott Pacini on the chat says that on the YouTube side says that may mean it's a re-arsenal barrel. That's quite possible given the age. But what's his name? I think Clay or somebody said there'll be a mark on the barrel. If it's Remington, there'll be a proof mark on the barrel showing that it's from Remington. So when I get it in my hands, I'll be able to tell.
Yeah. So once you take it apart to clean it, you'll see if it has the marks or not.
Yeah.
That reminds me.
Scott Puccini was talking about buggering up a shit stick, and because he wants to see the fireballs. I'll tell you what, when you get the carbine versions of those and you use it with the original military ammo, that is really cool.
I just picked up a DPMS AR the other day that the guy had blown up the gas tube on. Ruined the barrel.
How do you do that?
I'm not 100%. Because I saw the mangled mess on the gunsmith's table, and I asked him what had happened, and he said a guy came in and sold it. And the front, he only had one of the cheap plastic clamshell on the front end.
Oh.
So that was damaged. Who gives a shit about that, you know? And then,
yeah, but I mean, it indicates he was really running rounds through it like crazy.
Well, it indicates to me that maybe he wasn't running the right thing through it, because when I looked at what was left on the barrel said 223 on it. It was not not the barrel that a DPMS rifle normally comes with. So part of me was wondering if he was running either maybe he got some reloaded 5.56 that was kind of hot and he just overdid it, or maybe he may have even, because the inside of the chamber is all fucking torn apart. It took the gunsmith a while to tear the barrel and everything out of it. But I liked the stock and I wanted the lower and I wanted the upper, so I got the whole assembly for $60. I'll order a barrel, put a barrel on it, put a better handguard on it, and call it a day.
Yeah, and going back to the RA, I found a forum that's talking about like roll marks and stuff, and it says that let's see, the only documentation I've found was Remington Arms marked RA High Standard, who made barrels for Smith Corona, yeah, which are marked SC. Blah, 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 blah. And the spare parts were mostly made by Remington. So it could be that they had swapped out the barrel or something. But yeah, it's not unusual to see an SC with a Remington barrel. Nearly all the small parts contract barrels were Remingtons. They can still be found today, blah, blah, blah. So that's probably what it is. But
well, I'll probably get it in another week or two, so maybe I'll throw a video up of it when I get it, like I normally do after I get it cleaned up.
Yeah. So the barrel definitely needs cleaning, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! I hope I didn't do that to everybody.
What?
Well, I just noticed G-Webs is. Oh, God damn it! My touchpad's messed up. G-Webs was asking for a link, so I'm going to send him one real quick. And when I was looking, I was like, I already sent him one. Somehow I had copied just gunchannels.com/hit-or-miss and sent that to everybody. Well, at least to him. I don't know if I sent that to everybody or not.
No, you can only get 10 in here.
Well, that's fine, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe that's why the other people didn't join. I mean, because I sent it to all you guys in one batch, and then after the show started, a bunch more people showed up, and so I just clicked on all their names and hit paste.
Yeah, and none of them showed up.
Yeah, and so I was like, well, what the heck? Maybe that's what happened to Scotty, because he's like, oh, I don't even get a link, and I'm like, I already sent you one. I did. Oh my God, dude, why didn't anyone call me on it? I feel like a jerk.
Oh God.
No one really got. No one else really asked.
You're gonna be the new Jonas now.
Where's my link? Why'd you send me to the freaking show?
You're gonna be the new Jonas now.
Oh, don't even start that.
That's a messed up way of telling people, yeah, you can watch.
No one called me on it and said like, hey guys, what the heck is that? I don't want to watch the thing. I want to join it. So whatever.
Yeah, they're going to say, oh, he doesn't want us there.
Hey, you know what? Like I said, we're all have visitation rights with Dad weekend. So, yeah, sometimes you got to eat ice cream for dinner because you're at Dad's house. He doesn't have real food. Sorry.
Hey, G-Lives.
Hey.
Oh. Yep. How's it going, buddy? He's still out in the van.
With the fan.
Those clouds are beautiful. Puppy.
All I can see is a dog.
Oh man, we got
Oh, there they come.
we got 2 dogs in the chat.
That's right.
That's how we roll when Night Strike's not around, man. Dogs take over.
There he is. Was that a palm tree in Arizona?
Yep.
I think they had palm trees in Arizona.
They're not native. Just grow them out here.
That's what I thought. It's not native. They must have brought that over from Las Vegas. Or they must have stole it at Las Vegas.
All right. So I don't know what else were we talking about.
Oh, nothing too much. We've covered a nice variety of topics, from
Yeah.
getting into shooting sports to how people need to clean up after themselves at gun ranges to the importance of reloading.
Yeah.
We're moving along.
Yeah, not bad for. I mean, we knocked an hour and 10 minutes off already.
Yeah. We're pretty awesome.
Yeah, we went through that quite well.
Yep.
We didn't have any silent moments. You know?
Yeah, there's something else that I did want to mention here, and that's, you guys all probably know about this already, although the one thing, one of these things I didn't know about, the other one I did. I'm getting this off of Instagram out of 2018 Matters. I'm pretty sure it's the same person who had 2016 Matters, 2017 Matters. I think he jumped ahead already to 18 because 2017 got shut down. When I commented on one of the first posts, was like, yeah, Instagram's crazy or whatever. But I just want to read this most recent one. California's politicians' gun control move hits 2 setbacks. The first one, a judge halting the magazine ban and proposed assault weapons rule deadline registration moved to July 1st, 2018. And then what the heck was the other one? With California regulators blocking Attorney General, whoever, McDummy face, proposed new rules on assault weapons, saying he went too far in trying to impose new regulations without allowing for public comment. So I knew the magazine. I didn't realize that the assault weapons ban one was also pushed back. It's still just kicking the can down the road. They still need to fight it and get rid of it. But yeah, so it's at least until July 1st of 2018 instead of, well, the original one was going to be January 1st.
Yeah, I was reading something today that the police chief of Los Angeles thinks that, you know, the for national reciprocity, whole hell is going to break loose.
Well, they always say that kind of stuff. They always say there's going to be blood in the streets, that it's going to be craziness, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, the law-abiding citizens in one state that aren't causing problems, do you really think if they drive across state lines they're going to start causing problems? I mean, come on.
Well, there's just no factual data to support any of those positions. It's all, oh, I think it might. Oh, I feel this. Horse shit.
You know what I like to say to a sheriff who wants to sit there and talk about how if we allow reciprocity, then all of a sudden there'll be violence in the streets. How dangerous are your streets that visitors are going to have to defend themselves? You're that worried about strangers carrying a gun? What makes you think they're going to need to use it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
'cause
because
they
it's
always
only that
go with-
law that it's only that law that keeps us from driving across the border and robbing their banks and shit. We all know this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't go to there, because I'm, not allowed to carry there. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I know it's off topic, but why I got you here, Smeggy. Tomorrow's the 2nd.
That is a true statement.
Anytime, what time the thing is tomorrow?
The show?
We normally meet
The
over
Every
on,
Second Matters show. Yeah. I believe it's going to be after the Daily Gun Show. G-Webs may be able to speak on this a little bit better, because he's normally the one that sets it up and sends out the links and things.
Yeah.
But G-Webs, do you know for sure? We kind of mentioned it, I think, earlier, that it's probably going to be after the Daily Gun Show.
He's on silent. He's gone somewhere, I bet you. That's what I was figuring. I just thought you might know off the top of your head. So I'll aim for that unless I hear differently.
Yeah, it should be sometime. And if it, if it runs over match chat or whatever, then okay, fine. It runs over match chat. I mean, that's...
I'm not worried about that, but there should be a variety. I mean, sometimes when you guys run your chat over mine on Saturday afternoons, it gives people choice.
Right. And that's the thing with Every Second Matters being the 2nd of every month. It's a different day of the week every month. It always moves around, so it just...
Yeah.
But it's still pretty fluid also, so I guess just, keep an eye out. And the best way to do it, I think we're probably preaching the choir, but hang out on gun channels. If you're in the gun channels lobby, even in just the text chat or whatever, you'll start seeing people throw up links and saying, hey, who's ready to join? Or, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll kind of know what's going on from there.
Yeah.
So gun channels is always my hub for all of gun-related news and goings on. Yeah, he dropped out. I don't know, maybe his internet was a little messed up. He sounded a little choppy earlier. He just dropped out here. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think I might call it and wrap this one up. Sorry to any people who I sent the wrong link to, but you should have came back and been like, dude, you're an idiot. You sent the wrong link. I obviously did it right the first time. I got some people to join. So whatever, it's your own damn fault. And is there anything you guys want to plug real quick before we go?
Just my show on Saturdays, Rick's Life as I See It, on gun channels and on YouTube. Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
Dog Body Official on YouTube. Down the Scope series. New videos every Thursday.
Wait, the what nows? I don't even know if I follow you, bro.
Oh, yeah, you got to see those. Those are cool.
Yeah, the channel is Dog Body Official. So Dog Body space official, because YouTube sucks. And the series that I'm doing right now is called Down the Scope.
That's where you're shooting the eggs and stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's gonna have Rachel Ray on as a special guest.
Oh, I hate that woman with a passion. I would love for her to stand in for one of my eggs.
Right. Huh.
She could stand there and say,
Evie. I know I got you on the Instagrams, but I guess I never followed you on YouTube. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I have some other stuff that's gonna come out that's kind of about how to prep for your animal for shit hits the fan stuff. Because everyone under the sun talks about prepping for themselves and their spouses and their kids, but I'm always amazed how many people don't think about Fido.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I mean, another thing is, I got a cat. What I'm saying is, but he's a diabetic, so I have to give him insulin shots. So if shit hits the fan, you got to make sure you got enough of that backed up.
Well, I mean, it also depends on what your end game is, because
Recipe for that.
Yep. I always get these guys who they especially like when I every now and then when I used to go do class, when I'd like go take classes, you get these like really tactical people who are like, oh, you know, we're gonna do this and we're gonna go, we'll just travel out to this remote cabin and it's like, okay, tell me, you have a dog? Yeah. Does your dog have any redeemable skills, or is your dog just there to be food? And they look horrified when you say that to them. But it's like, you want to sit here and talk about this like it's a real thing? You got to face the reality. You know, can your dog track?
I mean, I kind of ask those same questions with kids.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, but
there
kids
again.
are trainable.
Well, exactly, but you'd be based
They
on
are trainable, but if not, I guess they're food.
how
I
many
was trying to
people
make
have
a joke, but
yeah, well, but it's true though. How many people have teenagers who they haven't bothered to start teaching them how to shoot or how to like, you know, do basic skills? You don't wait until the incident happens to start teaching them. You know, I get guys all the time who swear to me, "Oh, I got this pit bull, you know, it'll be a great guard dog if something happens." The moment I put on a bite suit, that dog goes and hides behind their owner. It's like, this is the dog that's going to protect you and your family? Probably not. You know,
yeah,
because
people have I think they have a unrealistic expectations for coming from dogs. Where it's like, think of it this way: if someone comes to your house, like the meter reader or who whatever Jehovah's Witness or something, like, and they come to your door and your dog doesn't know them, but I mean he's a good dog and he doesn't maul them. What makes you think when shit hits the fan and some other stranger comes into camp he doesn't know that he's all of a sudden going to maul him? I mean, he's going to bark, which I think is good, which I think that's, if you ask me that question, I don't have a dog right now, but if I did, I'd say, yeah, my dog's an alarm, which is exactly what Mel just typed in. Dogs are alarms, not responses. So that they do have a redeemable skill.
Yeah.
They have better senses than me and they bark at shit. Good. I can take the threat.
If your dog has been trained to do that kind of thing.
Well, I don't think you need to train a dog to bark at shit. Most of them do.
You'd be
unless you
how
train them
easy,
not to bark at shit because it's annoying.
Well, you'd be amazed at how often you could take a dog that would normally bark at somebody and how easy that dog is to be conned. And on top of that, there's times where you want to make sure your dog does not bark. If you're hiding and you need to stay hidden, you want to make sure you can shut that dog up and that dog stays quiet. And that's, it's things like that. I mean, but again, a lot of people just think because they have a big dog, or Rottweiler owners were another one that I've run into in my line of work that always want to tell me about, oh, I've got this dog and it'll defend my family. But when that dog comes face to face with real aggression, where there's not a door between them and the aggressor, how often those dogs shrink back. Because people just think that, oh, well, a dog is just going to naturally do that. Dogs are pretty domesticated. And a lot of times you have to teach them to have the proper responses that you want. And if you have like a teacup chihuahua, that's just an appetizer.
Right, exactly. Well, and that was kind of the same point I was getting at. Was that people think like, and that's what I'm saying. Like when your neighbors come over, if they don't know the dog, is it, treat it like a hostile threat? Probably not really. So what makes you think that like it's going to know you magically flipped a switch where now if someone comes into your camp, they're bad guys trying to steal your stuff because, there's no electricity in the world ended or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to know that. That's my point. It doesn't. However it handles strangers now is how it's going to handle strangers when shit hits the fan.
Well, and you encourage that behavior. Every time your dog barks at somebody that's a friend of yours, you say, hey, shut up, stop doing that. My next door neighbor has this wonderful dog. And every time I walk out of my own yard, the dog goes ballistic. And the neighbor comes out and yells at the dog. And then I tell the neighbor, shut up. I want the dog to do this. If there's somebody in my yard, I want that dog sounding off.
Well, I'll throw another scenario. But
you do treat your domestic dog, you treat them not to do that, not to appear aggressive and all of that. And I totally agree with Dog Body that people think that, all of a sudden the dog's going to know the difference that the social construct changed. I don't think so.
Well, here's something I throw at people all the time, and that's that has your dog ever heard gunfire? So, because one of the things I do is I've trained lots of dogs for different organizations and things, as well as for private stuff. And I've had dogs that when they see a bite suit and, you know, I come at their owner like an attacker, their dog will latch onto me in a heartbeat. The moment I fire that starter pistol, that dog has forgotten that owner's even there. That dog's heading for the hills. So there's a lot that comes down to when people talk about they have an animal that's prepared for, you know, when shit gets serious. And I tell people, it's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? I have a dog and my dog is just a family pet. That's great. Understand it's the family pet and understand that you might have to make a hard decision. God forbid things ever get, you know, real bad. But you get these people who get so attached to their animals, and I'm extremely attached to my animals, which is why I feel an obligation to make sure that my animals provide skills that if shit were ever to get bad, that, you know, my dog can do more than just be my good companion. He can help me find food. He can help, you know, he can help defend. He can do all those things. The only thing he can't do is not stink, because he's a bulldog. So that just comes with it. But, you know, people don't think about these things. I mean, I'm often amazed how often I see people who have retrievers who don't know how to retrieve.
Well, that was a pretty long plug for your channel there.
Oh, I wasn't trying. Sorry, we got off on a tangent. My bad.
Well, that's fine. Hey, it is what it is. I just was hoping to shut it down here in a minute. So,
yeah.
Did everyone get their stuff in that they wanted to say?
I'm just going to real quick mention that on the Daily Gun Show, we got talking a little bit in the side chats about AR-15s that are neutered and don't have your own removable magazines and stuff. And there's a company called Mean Arms that actually makes a loader, a side port loader that loads through the dust cover. And I actually have a couple of them in my hands now. And I'm going to be putting a video out probably in the next week or so that shows, you know, basically, I've never used one of these before. Let's try it and see if it works kind of video. And we'll see what happens. So I just want to let people know that's coming around.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll make sure to check that out. And I'm going to go ahead and plug also. Well, first, I'm going to thank everyone for listening and finding this. I'm assuming you found it through gun channels and stuff. But, yeah, it's not on Night Strike's YouTube channel tonight because he's MIA. So it's on Smeggy42. Check my channel out. I pretty much just do lobbies and stuff. But I might start making videos. So you never know. You might as well subscribe now, and you might get cool videos in the future. Or you might not. I don't really care. Whatever. And secondly, check out Every Second Matters tomorrow. And not just the show, just in general. Tomorrow's a day that we can all, as a community, try and talk about guns, you know, at work, in the grocery store, whatever. Like, if the opportunity arises, which I try and do anyways. However, I have a heightened awareness of when a topic can turn into a gun topic. And maybe I annoy people. I don't really care. But I think it comes out pretty good. There's a bunch of people I work with that are kind of in the middle-ish, and I'm getting them more on my side, so that's always fun. And, yeah, so there's that going on tomorrow. And then check out Daily Gun Show every day at 7 o'clock. So I always got good topics and stuff. So anyways, thanks everyone for listening. Like, thumb, subscribe. Tell Night Strike that he sucks because he missed it. Don't let him forget that he missed a show, because he never lets me forget when I miss a show. So let's all hound him and be like, yo, you weren't on Hit or Miss. It was the best show ever. Thank God you weren't there. All that kind of stuff. He loves when people make fun of him. And
we'll let him know he Jonased.
Well, don't call him that. I personally don't like calling him that. But you can tell him that you were happy he missed the show because, you know, I'm so awesome. And he'll like that. He likes when he gets made fun of.
Yeah, it's the best show we've had in a long time.
Yeah. So, anyways, this was Hit or Miss.